It's now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no!
I actually love you, but
Oh, it's so wrong.
I gotta go. I got something to do. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hey everyone, welcome to Survivor Now podcast. I'm so happy today to be joined by Ollie, Kara, and Bruce. And today we are talking about episode 2 of Australia versus the world. If you watched our first episode coverage, which by the way, you should, if you haven't yet already, you're missing one. I wasn't able to make it to the first one. It was too early. It was too early my time, unfortunately. But I'm very happy to be back here now talking with all of you. As always, we do have our live chat open. So if there's any thoughts that you want to share about the episode, crazy episode, I can't wait to get into it. Go ahead and leave us a comment in the chat, just like Amy did. Amy, always so good to see you. Super happy to be able to be on this discussion. Amy, we're so happy to see you. Australia does not disappoint. I know. I'm having so much fun with this season. And I think what was really interesting, and we really get it this episode especially, is I feel like we see a very big difference between how the World Tribe played and how the Australian Tribe is playing. Everyone, I see some nods in agreement with that. What are some of your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, let me start by saying, I'm sorry, I need to start it off. You said it was too early for you. Man, I woke up at 5 o'clock after going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to be able to get over there and make sure I was there to show up and show out. So I don't want to hear that anymore. That's
I am
number one.
not ashamed to say I don't like mornings.
I just think that there is a definite difference between it. And one of the things that I picked up on was, you know what, the international tribe, they take direction a little bit easier. Tony was doing a very good job. I believe we'll get into that, but they take direction just a tad bit easier, and the communication was a little better. So anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy because the World Tribe's tribal was great, and like watching them do the whole thing, but like the Australian side was like even crazier. You know, just like it's just getting better and better.
Ollie, if there's anything else you want to add, otherwise I want to show Gabe's comment here that this wasn't an easy George vote. Everyone thought preseason. I think what I really noticed we'll get into it. We have a lot to talk about going into this episode, but like I think going into or seeing how stacked these tribes are, both of them, it's like who do you point at to vote out first? It's very interesting. So why don't we go ahead and start getting right into the episode where I have a question for the group. I mean, we've all seen a lot of the US seasons. I'm getting like, and maybe it's just because Parvati and Suri are there, but I'm getting like Micronesia vibes in the sense of how we saw episode 1 play out. And then also now we have this potential for a girls' alliance to form between the 4 women on the World Tribe.
it's definitely old school coded for sure. I was talking to a Survivor player about this, and we were both saying how old school coded it was. Like it was fully just like that like Micronesia, Tocantins, China vibe. Like it's in that region. So yeah.
It's refreshing. It really is. It is good to see, you know, the social experiment, which is Survivor, showing up and showing out. Like I love the idea that I can think back to early Survivor and say, okay, this seems like nothing against, you know, new era Survivor at all, but I think old school Survivor it had a different feel, a definite different feel.
Imagine playing new era. Could never.
I mean, they're
What's
kind of
that?
getting a taste of like the new era. This is even quicker than new era timeline. So, I mean, they're kind of getting a little taste of it. But I mean, I'm kind of with Amy here. I just love seeing Parvati play, like laughing her way through everything. She's so excellent at this game. Suri as well. It feels so refreshing to see them. I even got like chills watching them do the first challenge. Just getting to see them on another Survivor season was thrilling. And it does kind of, it feels like it harkens back to the gameplay that we've seen them do in some of those older seasons. So I think it's really exciting, but someone who's not excited by this development is Tony, because Tony is like, Tommy, what happens if we go back to tribal council? I love that Tommy was like, I don't know. It's just very funny.
I love Tommy. Like, Tommy's so chilled, but like, it's like strategic of him. Like, he really is doing a great job of just like flying under the radar. He's like, I don't know. He fully knows. But if he stays chilled and he lets Tony go a bit crazy, like, he knows that it will keep him safe. So
Yeah.
Tony is a definite big target.
Yeah. They should be worried, honestly.
They should be. And like Bruce, especially Tony, in my opinion. But I do like, Gabe is right. I was talking to Phil about this. Phil, our co-host of Got Something For Ya, where I was like, Tony is really surprising me this season. And it's like, he's not, I feel like I've seen him be in a situation similar to this and completely flame out in a way, or just kind of start letting his thoughts get the better of him. But I was really impressed by, he's just kind of planting some seeds, right? He is nervous, but he's doing a really good job at hiding that anxiety.
But he said it. He said it flat out that he was like, he's ran around the jungle and he's been crazy and done his thing. But when he won season 40, which he did talk about, and he won $2 million, he said that he just kind of was methodic, and he just kind of took his time. He, kind of sussed the situation, and then he's like, okay. Then he knew when to send the daggers out and do his thing. But he's doing it here, and I got a little vocal during the challenge, and they did pick up on his audio. But I think that he's gonna do well by keeping the Tony that we love just kind of at bay for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, we're definitely seeing an evolved form of Tony. Like, we're seeing the growth, like, player-wise. Like, he knows what to do and what not to do, especially like with this being his 4th time playing. So yeah, well done, Tony.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce, it's so funny you mentioned the challenge, because that's actually one of the moments where Tony really stood out to me as like, he's doing really well. I liked hearing his leadership style during that moment, because I thought it was just right. But we'll get to it when we talk about the immunity challenge. Cast Form says, I thought the Rob vote was great, but this vote was even better. This truly will be the best season, as short as it is. Cast Form, first of all, thank you for your comment. Hello. I know it's my first time seeing you. Great name as well. Kara, I know that you in our group chat had something similar to say when you were watching that tribal council. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts when we get there. As well. And Amy is right. No Spy Shack quite yet, but we'll see. If you were we shall see. We got a Spy Shack, a Spy Tree, a Spy Nest. Well, maybe a Spy Submersible is the next thing. So
a Spy Submarine.
A Spy Submarine. I like it. The other thing I liked was seeing Luke find an immunity idol. I mean, Kara, this was really exciting to me just because I love seeing Luke play, and I was really happy that he was the one of all people to find it. But I mean, what were your thoughts that were going through when you saw this?
It was such a good moment, and I was also happy that he said he's not going to tell anyone about it. He's going to keep it to himself. I feel like whenever the time comes for him to play that idol, it's going to be so exciting. It's going to be great TV.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm excited for that. And it was just a great moment in this episode too. Just another great moment from all the great moments.
Someone keeping an idol.
Yeah, that's old school. We're talking about old school Survivor. You shut your mouth on what you got, and you try to find out who is going to do what, and who's with you, who's not with you. Yep, zip the lip, throw away the lock. You're good to go. Or the key, I should say. Sorry.
Which they're still looking for.
Right? The key.
Yes, that's right.
In this moment here, I mean, like, it didn't occur to me until I saw them all in frame. These three played together. You know,
Yeah.
like Champions vs. Contenders too, which was
Yeah.
the first season
It's
that
the
I watched.
2019 crew.
Yeah, but it's been so long since we last saw all of them together, and it really is such a strong relationship. So I am happy with the fact that Luke knows that his bond is strong with both of these people and says, you know what? I don't need to prove my loyalty to them like I would have to if this was a newbie season. I can keep my idol a secret, and they know I would vote with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also just love that Janine and David are working together this time.
I know.
Like, but like mainly because like I definitely said pre-season, I was like, look, she was ratting him out on Celebrity Apprentice, like Australia. I was like, I can see him just going, do you know what, Gene, go. So to see both of them working together, like I enjoyed that. Like it's a cute little reunion.
It's really sweet. It's really nice. And you're right. I do like seeing Janine and David play, especially because they were sort of there were others as well who played the antagonists and protagonists of that season, but they were definitely at the forefront of Champions versus Contenders too. So I'm happy to see them. Cast form. I love your question. I'm gonna circle back to that when we get closer to the immunity challenge, because that's when they see that Rob has been voted out. So David is also like, I'm great. I have all of these pre-existing relationships. I also was like, you know, considering how big of a target David has on his back, he's in a great spot with who is on this tribe with him. But the one person he doesn't quite know quite yet is Kirby. And he sees her as someone he might be able to manipulate moving forward. Bruce, I like that reaction. Can you please let me know what's going through your head?
So the last time that I thought about this was, you can't manipulate gangsters. Like, just sitting here, they're all gangsters. Everybody here has their own gangster way. And if you think for some strange reason you're gonna manipulate a gangster, you're out of your mind. Like that's I think that could have been the blunder of all blunders at that point. I'm thinking he can do that. Like, nobody there they did the manipulating. Everybody there manipulated somebody some way and then did it multiple times. Like, there's no way that, like, it's like saying it's like about Sari. Like, if you know, Tony says, I'm going to manipulate Sari. No, you're not. Like, it's not going to happen. So when he said that, I was like, ooh, somebody's in trouble. If you think that you're perceiving someone as weak that's on this season, that you're a goner. You're a goner. You can't. Everybody's got to be a strong contender in your mind.
Yeah. He's not
Definitely.
familiar with her game.
No, like Mitch says in the
Yeah.
chat. I mean, Bruce, I agree 1,000% with what you just said. And like Mitch saying he must not have watched Kirby season because nothing about her game says that she can be manipulated.
Yeah.
And we see that
Yeah.
a lot with. I was nervous. I don't know if anyone else here was nervous for Kirby with just how kind of quick she was to keep tossing David's name out to people even before the immunity challenge. And as we all know, as fans of Survivor AU, US, whatever Survivor that you watch, typically when we see someone throw someone else's name out before an immunity challenge, somehow the vote always ends up landing on that person. So I was a little bit nervous for Kirby, but I did like seeing Kirby's thought process, which is David, you're right. Like we're just doing David, right?
Yeah, definitely. I love Gabe's comment in the chat saying Kirby doesn't like to be in the bottom of an alliance. Like, this is so true, and I could see that's what was occurring. I loved this interaction just because it was a really nice like, I'm trying to think of the word. Like, basically, we thought it was going to go one way, and actually, this was kind of like a nice little red herring, thinking, oh no, no one's going to go after David. So I do actually I like that. I like that there was some growth here that we'll see later on.
Yeah, but it took a windy road to get to that spot at the end of the episode. Like Gabe said, Kirby really had to work on Sarah a little bit. And honestly, I wonder if Kirby realized how much she had to work on Sarah, because we learn that Sarah has this pre-existing relationship even before Australian Survivor aired with David because they both were in the model world together. So they have this friendship that scaled back really long. She's really struggling with, okay, last time I played, I was stretched way too thin on the people who thought that I was working with them. This time I'm going to choose an alliance and I'm going to commit. And I think the big question that I have is, why wasn't that alliance with David? Why was it with Kirby?
I think it's because she's now Sarah's my queen. We love her. She's my fave. We all know this. I think Sarah is a super fan of the game. I think it is because she knew that David was the obvious person to align with. It was obvious, but what she also knew was everyone's going to expect it, and if it happens, it just makes my target bigger. If everyone wants to go for him, if I'm going to be loyal to him, that puts me on the outer. So I think she knew that he was already going to be a massive target. So let me go for someone that maybe people wouldn't expect, maybe who could be better for my game. So that's why I think she did it. She there was definitely some smart reasons behind it.
Yeah, and the other thing also is that maybe at some point in time, the other side of the coin would be that they have this unspoken kind of, look at each other and see that that you're aligned because you've known each other as long as you have. So that could be another side of it where they didn't want it to be obvious that they were working together, but maybe in some way, shape, or form that they were. So we find out later on, with the vote and how that all worked out. But I don't know. I really do think that they had some unspoken bond that they knew that they were going to refer information back to each other if they needed to, and go from there. And if it was in the best interest of their game, but again, it's a short season, a very short season. So how close do you hold that to your vest in regards to, your chest in regards to like how long want to keep something around?
Yeah. Like similar to like kind of what Ollie said, like if she did join like the David and the Luke and the Janine, like that kind of does put her on the bottom of an alliance, where with Kirby, like she is the top of the alliance with her, and then like George and Shoni are kind of like there too, kind of by default, but I feel like she's at the top there, where with them she would be at the bottom.
Yeah, right. It's like she definitely would have a hand at saying, I was responsible for forming this alliance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel I definitely get that energy as well. And I agree with you, Kara. I think that that's sort of the realm. Where I was going, and there's a lot of great thoughts in the live chat as well that I want to get to. A lot of people sort of speaking in the same general reasoning as well. I just thought that she was going to just choose to run the game with David and see what happens there. And I'm very excited that she chose the path less traveled by, which is very, very interesting. Gabe, I disagree with this personally. I mean, I know David is excellent TV. I'm not sure. I can't speak for Sarah. I wouldn't imagine that this was a reason on her mind for getting rid of David or not. Gibby says Shawnee is playing a silent game. Gibby thinks. Where is Shawnee? I feel like we definitely see her. But a lot of the storyline right now is that Shawnee-George relationship. So, Shawnee's name gets tossed a little bit later in the episode, and we do see some good gameplay from her. So I'm excited to talk about it. Also, Cashform says it could also be that she'd be at the bottom of the alliance. Right? That's what we were just saying. Absolutely. At least with Kirby and Shawnee, she's one of three. And yeah, Gabe, we'll talk about her passing along that information through Janine to David a little bit later. But ultimately, at night, she's like, Kirby, let's go ahead and do it. She gives the okay that she would vote David out at the next tribal council. Again, watching this on my first time, I was actually really surprised by this admission, especially at this part. And speaking of, oh yeah, Ollie?
No, I was just saying I wasn't that surprised. Just because I obviously from seeing Sarah's game in 2017, like she is a really smart player, so she kind of understood like it's a smart move to do. So I wasn't that surprised personally, but that's just me. delicious.
Yay. Awesome. I think you're right. Sarah is an incredibly smart player. I think before going into this, I could see why either path would be a smart option here. Like, I think she was actually in a really good position, and I think she still is.
Yeah.
So we go to the immunity challenge, the second immunity challenge of Australian Survivor. And this is where I want to talk about cast form's question, because we know that actually it's really this slide that we could everyone seems to be really surprised that Rob was the first person voted out on the World Tribe.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because people were assuming there's 3 Americans, let's get one of them out, and also there's the tribe strength element as well. So this question from cast form, here's actually a question: when the World Tribe took out Rob, do you think that's what encouraged Kirby to take the shot at David? Or do you think she'd have always done that, as she's just that fearless? Kara, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I think she always was gonna go for David first. I can't imagine Kirby trying to go for like not the big name, you know? Like I don't think that really went into consideration. I think it was always gonna be David.
What about you, Bruce?
I really do think that it took the fear away. It took the fear away. So if one tribe's willing to say, okay, I need the biggest, strongest dude that's just got to go home, goodbye, then you should look at it and say, okay, so are we going tit for tat? Are we gonna take out, our strongest guy? Because our strongest guy also is a gigantic threat to win the game. So I had a conversation even just this weekend about a big threat being taken out of the game sooner than later. And, oh, well, they could be a shield was one argument. The other argument was, yeah, they would screw up my game. So that's why you get those big threats out. And I think that might have weighed, if it was 60-40, 60% of it was the threat part of it, 40% was, the strength. But I'm really thinking that we're going to get to the point where hopefully it's not introducing puzzles. And that's just it. I've always said it. That's what the equalizer. So just get to that point. You don't need the strength. If tribes are both balanced out equally, you have 2 big brutes out of the game, well, there you go. Now we're still an even playing field.
Right. It's not like you lose something with him gone. Your tribe goes. It's like, it's not even really in consideration as to, oh, are we going to keep losing if we vote this person out? Because the other tribe has lost something already.
Because the Aussies thought about that right off the bat. I know they did. They saw, oh my God, their muscle is going. We got this. Come on, man. Let's go. So, and then old man Tony, I like to call him, throws those bags. And thing. I skipped ahead a little bit, but I'm happy for him. I love that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Tony did a really great job, as did this entire tribe. I thought that they worked really well together. But really a shout out to Tony, who I think was keeping everyone calm and on track and just getting to the end of this challenge. So Gibby says, Gibby said, Tony is such a daddy. I wonder what Tony would think of that title.
Coming from someone that was a dad doing the same exact thing with his tribe, he's saying thank you. I appreciate that.
Love it. I love it. And then we have Gabe, who says Kirby will never go simple. Oh, interesting, Gabe, because I feel like it depends on how you look at simple. Like I think the simple vote to Kirby was voting out David. It's just a lot of people had different thoughts about it. And Mitch says tribe strength doesn't really matter as much with a game that is so short. I mean, if we think about it, we blink and we're practically at merge time. Like it really is that.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
All right. And Jaden also said immediately immunity and no reward challenge is interesting.
Honestly, when I saw how quickly we had the immunity, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be spicy." I was like, it's going to be popping off, and I can't wait."
Yeah, I can't even. I'm intimidated by how we're going to talk about all the intricacies of this vote, this conversation. I had to edit down the amount of slides because sometimes it was like this person walked over here and said Shawnee, sometimes this person walked over here and said George, this person walked, it was just way too much. So let's try to get through as much as we can and talk about who we really think, who really shined during this whole scramble. So the initial thing that we land when we're at the beach is David pitching either going after George or Shawnee, which I find is very funny that even though everyone knows that the two of them, or at least Shawnee doesn't want to work with George, they're still a pair to everyone else.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like he had said, I'm thinking that his blunder is that they're low hanging fruit. It's weird. They're all on the same branch. They're all hanging the same level. It's just because they're all kings and queens and gods of Survivor. So they're all on the same somewhat playing field. Some egos are bigger than others, but when you sit there and you take a look and you say, okay, I'm going to have to Shawnee and George, they play the game just as hard as everybody else. So just maybe just taking a look at it and saying, okay, I think I'm screwing up here and not putting the proper weight on everyone that they deserve.
I was just more surprised that David wanted to go after a fellow power bottom.
Oh, the power bottom.
Mm.
I love
mean,
that.
I feel like it made sense for them to work together. I know they were kind of like laughing at it and like laughing at George, but I feel like having George on your side is not a bad thing, Like,
No, same, especially
like
when
it
George
makes
has no
sense.
options.
Yeah.
And he's gonna find out everything. He talks to everybody. He's like, he's like the poster child for gossip. I love it. Like, keep him around. Find out what's going on. Like, have the proper conversations and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
just want to get rid of him. Bye. Just because he's annoying. There's a lot of annoying people out there.
I think there's also something, and this is just my observation as a viewer and as someone who's watching a bunch of players who have been in the same small world as each other play again with each other. Like, the idea of being a player with George and then having George be responsible for voting you out, and then knowing that George will brag about that as George moves forward in the game. Like, there's something that stings about that. But let's keep on going here as well. Mitch said Kirby has done a really good job at feeding people's egos. And I think that's why everyone trusts her so much, because she makes them feel important, making people feel important. Mitch, I love that you highlight that skill set. And I think Kirby does really show that very well. I think Kirby does have a lot of respect for people overall.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Like, even in the conversation she had with David, she was, I don't even know where in this timeline this conversation happened, so this might happen later. But like, she went up to him and she was like, I want to be your number one. Like, tell me who to vote. Like, I want to do what you say. I want to be your number one, whatever. So I feel like that was a good.
It's this part.
Was it this?
I think so, yeah. I mean, there was so much going on, but I think
There
it was this part.
But if you notice something, the way that she said that to David, right? If you think about it, look at the way, I'm going to bring up Rob. He didn't do that with Poverty. Where you going? Where you voting? What are you doing?
Right.
Like she's finding, she has the skill to be able to say, okay, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do. So what do you want me to do? Right? So he's going to say whatever, he comes to his mind. So now she's armed with that information. So I don't know. That was good play. Good play.
Well, let's complicate the situation a little bit more. So Kirby leaves this conversation and immediately starts saying, we're going to go after David. There is a conversation that she has with George and the rest of the women besides Janine, where they're basically, George is really pushing for Janine quite a lot. I didn't include that in the slides just because it, doesn't, there's more to talk about. But eventually we sort of land back at Sarah, and Sarah is still like, oh, Kirby, I want to work with you. But Sarah does something pretty sneaky. And honestly, I was nervous that it was going to come back and get her, because she knows the vote is going to be on David. So she goes to Janine and says, hey, I can't be seen talking to David. Can you please tell him to play his idol because the votes are going on him? And she outlines to Janine exactly who is voting for David, how many votes are going to go on him. And to me, this could have gone a couple of different ways. This almost to me felt like Sandra giving Denise the idol in Winners at War and saying, just do what you need to do with this and go. And I was nervous for Sarah.
Yeah.
That trend. Yeah.
I was nervous for her too. I thought this whole time, I was like, they're going to flip it on her. Like, even at Tribal, I was like, they're just going to say, let's vote Sarah. Like, she's the one who's kind of talking to everyone without talking to everyone. They're going to catch on, you know? I really thought she was going to be in danger, like, throughout all of this.
Right. And even Amy is like, so much for Sarah playing a loyal game. It's like, how? And I agree. I agree with Gabe's point here that Sarah wants her cake and eat it too, because it's like, how are you going to say to Kirby and Shawnee, I'm proving my loyalty to you by doing this, and then go back and like, she would still, it's the Survivor way, right? Like, I am happy that she's sort of still trying to make things work in her favor if she knows that having David in the game is going to work for her, but it's just very, very funny.
Well, I guess to be the Sarah defender, because go Sarah. I feel like it was. I think for Sarah, it was probably like a head and a heart situation where, as we've said, like we know that she has this like deep friendship with David, so she's like, and I think she said it to Janine at that point. She was like, "This is me doing like my solid to David as a friend. Like, here you go." And I think that's how she like pivoted it. And if it kind of came back and like she said it like that, I can still see people obviously like getting annoyed with her, but also I can see people understanding it from that logic. Because most people would go, okay, we understand like there is this friendship here. Like she's done it as a solid. Mm-hmm. In this game, because it works because of how short it is. I think in a regular season, I could have been more worried. But in the short season, it could kind of just be brushed off.
Yeah, it kind of like reminds me of on the World Tribe, like Lisa deciding between, do I go with the other international players or do I go with Suri, who I just want to work with, you know? I feel like that's kind of a similar scenario that Sarah's in on the Australian Tribe.
Look at my draft picks doing well.
But I mean, to both of those points, I feel like Lisa chose and Lisa committed, right?
That's true.
And her vote showed, right? And you know, to some extent, Sarah did too. But Ollie, to push back on you a little bit, and you're not here to defend yourself, to push back a little bit. Just work with David. If you are friends with David and you are going all this way to make sure David is safe through a potential idol play, just work with David. You know, like that would still be her loyalty game, just to, and I guess that's what I was trying to say a little bit before. So yeah, I agree with Jaden. Sarah's game is confusing me a little bit. I do like it though, and I do like her, and I really do. It's just, you know, it's fun to take a look and go in depth about this stuff. Okay. So we obviously,
you know what?
Yeah.
I have something to say actually about Janine. I feel like we didn't get a lot of her, but like we got a lot of her in the sense where she was like kind of in the middle of everything. We saw her like be the messenger, see her be in the middle of everything, almost get voted, like, but we didn't really see much from her, you know, from her talking to us, I guess.
I'm so glad, Kara, that you brought this up, because I agree. In the first 2 episodes that we've seen, yeah, I'm like, where's Janine? But I love seeing her at work. And I love that, like, she was keeping David in check. This, you know, in the sense that David would be like, well, what if we get Sarah? And Janine would be there being like, babe, you don't have Sarah. You don't have Sarah. What's next? Keep it, you know, move on. Janine is one of my favorite players ever. I feel like my top tier Survivor players are Janine, Kirby, and George. So it's really cool that they're all on this season. Yeah, Kara.
Like the fact that like Janine and Sarah were like having this conversation, and like Sarah felt comfortable to go to Janine to tell David this, I thought was interesting too, because I feel like we didn't see them like have a conversation where they're like, let's work together or anything like that. We just saw her go to Janine. Did they? Maybe I forgot. I don't know. But she just went to her and was like, tell David this, and like no one thought anything of it. Maybe I'm forgetting.
Is Janine trying to be like Pia? Has
You saw Amy's chat, right?
Huh?
You saw Amy's chat saying,
Yeah,
Janine,
I saw Amy's chat. And my brain went, "Ooh, is she
Yeah.
trying to be the smiling assassin?" Ooh, I'd love that.
I think Janine strikes me as someone who is incredibly, like, she knows she doesn't need to be stressed right now. She has such a good head on her shoulders, and I think I mean she's just a very powerful person, which is why it's so funny when George is saying Janine's just the easiest person to vote out, or I'm like, I think she deserves a little bit more respect than that, or a little bit more credit than that, whether he succeeds at that or not. As you know, it's funny. But yeah, Janine, Kara, thank you so much for bringing that up, because Janine is incredible, and I'm so happy with how she's doing things right now. But she does go back and she does tell that information to David, and David, of course, approaches Kirby and George and is like, "Who's throwing my name out?" And George thinks for a split second as to how he's going to respond, and goes, "She's standing right here." Commercial break. Like,
That was insane.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I thought he was going to say Sarah. I was not expecting to say she's right here. That was the craziest thing he could have said.
Bruce, I want to know, as someone who has played the game of Survivor, did you ever see something like this happen, or have an experience where you've either been the George in the situation, or someone's been the George against you in the situation, where you've just been that outright in front of everyone who's been saying whose name?
Yeah, well, something along the lines of that. It was me and Katora. I had said something in regards to her vote. And it's, and it was more information gathering, and I just wanted to see, and it gave me a better idea on how she was playing her game. But when I got that info, it was immediately kind of kicked back to me that, don't do that in front of everyone. But then it was also pushed back for me, like, no, it's a simple question. That's all I'm asking. I wanted her to be exposed at that moment in time. So this could be the very same scenario going on here. Just if you're gonna lie to me, you're gonna lie to David, you're gonna lie to me and lie to everybody else. I want to see what avenue, what direction you're gonna go with this. So, and you just sit back, you grab your popcorn and you just watch and see what happens.
Right, but to me, with George in this moment and how he did it, I had no idea who he was trying to impress, or like who I think he was trying to prove his loyalty to David in a sense, but the way that he said it was so shifty at the same time, and then it alienates Kirby. And I have to say, I agree with Amy. I think Kirby handled it well. I was just like, George, I don't know what you're trying to achieve from this.
George is trying to achieve mayhem. That's what he's trying to achieve, but then also trying to get, hey, I'm extremely loyal because I heard this and the person's right here. So, like, he's getting as much as he possibly can and produce mayhem and get information and look like the shining darling coming in, on a white horse. Like, this is the information I gave you. Remember this when we get to the jury. Like, that's what I'm thinking is what's going through George's mind.
Sure.
Yeah. And like I agree with like what Gibby said, like George being in panic mode, because I think this was right after he was like, "Oh, I'm going home. Like, I'm going home tonight." So I feel like he was definitely scrambling. And I mean, if I was Kirby in that moment and George just did that to me, I think on my mind I'd be like, "Okay, I want him out. Like, he has to go."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "We're just gonna vote him. Forget everything else."
I love that Kirby sort of outlined, like, here's all the things that you could have said in the moment. The person's not here. It was very funny. And I liked Jaden, your point here as well. The smiley face emoji was very much what Kirby was just doing. It was very funny. And David was just like, okay, and like walked away. It was just so intense. But David walks right away to, I mean, he has some more chats, but basically what ends up happening is he goes to Sarah and he's like, Sarah, you gotta help me try to get the vote off. Like, and Sarah's like, listen, the only way I can do this and be loyal to Kirby is if I get her to switch the vote. So that's what she goes and attempts to do in the water. And where we leave off before tribal council is it very much seems like Sarah has convinced Kirby to vote out George instead of David. And then there's that other plan where George gets everyone together in the water and is like, it's Janine. And I'm like, yeah, anything could happen. But yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. I mean, I love Mitch's comment as well, because I think it's very true in the sense of like George does thrive in chaos. And I feel like that's what he was trying to do in that situation in the water. But this is where I go back to my Sarah defending. She was able to obviously flip it back to appease both sides that she was allegedly trying to be loyal to. But where was the heat? Name never brought up from what we saw. Like, I don't know how. Like, that's the part for me. Like, that's the impressive part. Because
Ollie, I'm confused. Who is saying that Sarah's not a good player?
People.
Really?
Yeah. But that's just because they're haters. And I love my Sarah. But yeah, it's just one of those. I was like, her name's not been mentioned. Obviously, the only other person's name who we never saw mentioned was Luke as well. So well done, Luke. But in the sense of like, we saw Sarah like really in this power position during this pre-tribal discussion. I feel like the power players were Sarah and Kirby, but Sarah was able to get like no heat. Whereas obviously we did see Kirby get a bit of heat here, but sorry.
I would add Janine also. Okay. With that, we know where things are supposed to go. But let's take a very quick break because then we have to pace ourselves. And there's a lot to talk about at this unbelievable first tribal council for this tribe. Ollie, help me. Oh, there it is. And we're going to go to quick commercial. Bye.
Do you have what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast? Katie does. Since 2015, she's been handcrafting Survivor treasures for super fans just like you. Hidden immunity idols, she's got them. From one world to the Philippines. Every piece is designed and created by Katie herself. Check this out. Katie's brand new tribe emblem coin, a collectible inspired by Survivor All-Stars, a must-have for any super fan. Keychains, oh yeah. Ride along with Keith's legendary tuk-tuk or try your luck with the do or die twist. What is that, the most famous stick in Survivor history? Yes, that stick. Katie doesn't stop at idols. Oh no, she's even bringing in international flavor with an Australian Survivor cookie idol twist. Idol nullifier, safe or not safe, she's got them too. How about something you can actually wear to tribal? Katie's Survivor earrings are hot right now. Want your idols on the go? How about keychains? Take your tribe with you everywhere. And don't forget Katie's most famous Survivor product, Survivor trading cards. Fans love them, and so do the players. With over 500 cards and full stats on the back, you can collect your favorites from every season, including the full jury from Survivor 48. Katie Tedesco Art is the Survivor super fan shop, made by a fan for the fans since 2015. Check it out now on Etsy.com and follow her on Instagram at Katie Tedesco Art.
Oh, whoa. I did not see that new commercial for Katie Tedesco Art. That was incredible. And the products look insane as well. There's a lot that
Player cards are amazing, by the way. Player cards are absolutely amazing.
Right? Bruce, do you have one of yours?
I do. And that's just, everyone should have it. It's to die for.
What a cool memento of your time on the show to be a player and there's Katie Tedesco Art. There's a lot of fan art, great fan art that goes, but then there's also Todd Herzog who makes those Funko Pops. It's Survivor community. It's awesome. But let's talk about this tribal council. This was so fun. I watched this episode again with Phil. Again, co-host of Got Something For You, a show that Ollie and myself do with Phil. And it was so funny watching him watch these players for the first time because it was just so different than a tribal council he's really ever seen before. And I think it was so much fun to watch. I think it's always fun to watch Survivor with your friends and family if you're able to do so. So this tribal council.
Incredible.
Sarah.
Incredible.
Guacamole.
it was like it was good, and then it just kept getting better. It literally just kept getting better. I don't even know what to say about it. Like it was just insane.
I think
I think I'm sorry, but having been to travel councils, not too many, but having been to them, it gave me like a small level of anxiety because it was like what we saw was a small portion of what happened. And the small portion that we saw was so gangbuster. It was like, oh my god! Like, what was this whole entire thing like? So it was awesome. It was great to see.
I love how many times the name changed and how many people it changed to. And I think that's one of my favorite parts. It honestly could just be the way that Australian Survivor is edited, but something I have noticed is that sometimes we go into these tribal councils and there are so many names up in the air, but to see everyone so unafraid to say, all right, well, if the three of us vote and that person wants this person out, maybe we can switch it. Like that's what happened with Shawnee here. And Shawnee notices that two of her foes are speaking in the corner and says the only person they can be talking about is me. So what are we going to do to flip that? I was like, I couldn't, sometimes I know who's going to get votes on them. I had no idea who was going to get votes on them.
Oh god, it was mental. And I feel like they embraced it as well. It was literally Janine when she was trying to speak and she just went, "Oh, you two, go over there." I was like,
Good talk.
"Good mother." Yeah, it was crazy. It was mental. It was Australian Survivor. Yeah, it was crazy.
I love. Oh yeah. Kirby. From her time on Titan versus Rebels. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram post in there, but we've often joked about how her and Ferris had like a love story that was like crafted throughout the season. Like it was very much like a romantic comedy sort of edit. And I just think it's very funny in that photo that it looks like she and Luke are about to kiss. So in the bottom right. And everyone else is like, "Oh, this is so cute." But seriously, the name just keeps going back and forth and whatever.
Yeah. That's why I thought it was like gonna end up on someone like Sarah, you know? They're
Yeah.
just gonna maybe just be like, let's all agree and like let's just use Sarah. Like she's been talking to everyone or kind of talking to everyone through people, you know.
And I wonder if
So.
they got the sense that they were looking at each other, right? Like there were times where David was looking down the line at Shawnee, or like George was looking at Janine, or, you know, Shawnee's looking at George. Like it just was so much, Gabe. It was so much in such a short amount of time, and I loved every moment of it. But let's talk about how the votes end up, because we end up with a tie. So we find out that Sarah stays strong with what she promised Kirby. Well, and that was insane too, because at first they all went in there thinking, okay, we're voting George. And then all of a sudden Kirby switches it up on Sarah and Shawnee after she starts, you know, noticing that the energy is getting odd in there. She switches it up, and then Sarah, it cut to Sarah looking at David so many times, and it was so bittersweet as well. That was just, I would be terrified to be in Sarah's position in that moment, knowing that she promised Kirby one thing, and then she also just bet her friendship. Well, let's not forget about that. She bet she wouldn't vote David.
Like, and then one other thing, like George not voting for David. Like, do we think that was intentional that he did that? Do you think he was left out? Like, what do we think?
I think it was intentional from George, because remember, George is trying as hard as heck to create chaos, but then also make his hands look clean. So if David doesn't get voted out, what ends up happening? You can go back and say, "Well, I didn't vote for you, so let's keep make our relationship stronger." He needs David at this moment in time.
I agree with that, and I think to your point, Bruce, George is in a very interesting position where he needs to prove his allegiance somewhere. And that's why I think when it came to throwing Kirby under the bus in front of David before, like I think that was also part of it, although he kind of showed his cards to Kirby in that scene as well. But I think it was very intentional that he was going to have to just listen and trust to what his fellow power bottoms were telling him to do, which was Janine. Actually, it was like at a time it was Shawnee, and then Luke just told him Janine. There was a lot. There was a lot there.
It was crazy. I actually disagree with everyone. I feel like I don't think that George intentionally did all that. Like, I actually think that George was duped and he had put himself in a position where he was like, oh no, I'm about to get voted out, because I think he really wanted to go for Janine, but he was the only person that was ever willing to go for Janine. So when I saw the Janine vote, to me that was oh no. Like, that's where I generally did think that George had overplayed his hand a little bit.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Thanks, we appreciate that.
Like, do you think if Kirby told George, like, vote David, that he would have done it? If he knew that they were all doing it for sure?
Yeah. I feel like Kirby did tell. I think
I don't
Kirby,
think-
did she not? I mean,
No.
there was so much going on, to be fair. I've lost track.
Yeah, I mean, from how it looked, it didn't seem like she told him at Tribal to vote David. And I think she might have said, like, stick to the plan, which I guess was Janine going into it. So, yeah. I would, like, why not just tell him at that point, you know? And just have him go out.
Wait,
without
are we
telling.
having sound issues, everyone? I'm sorry, y'all. Is it okay? Is it me?
Should we figure it out? Should we figure it out live? Figure out who has the issue.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Yes, you. We have found it out live, people. We found out where the sound issue is coming from. I love that
I thought it was
in
me.
the chat as well.
Like the crunchy mic. The mic
It's
sounds crunchy.
I'm like wearing my wife's earbuds right now. They're lavender color, and I'm like, what? These are horrible. It wasn't me.
But right, while we let me finish that. Yeah, with this.
Ollie to take over.
It's fine. I got this. Yeah, with this, obviously with the tied vote, like, what were both of your reactions when you saw that third vote came out as David and you knew it was tying? Did you feel like the writing was on the wall for David, or did you actually think like maybe the girls were going to kind of turn around and be like, George, what the hell? Like, why'd you do this?
Yeah, I thought it was going to flip to George. There were so many possibilities for it, like Sarah thinking, you know what, actually I want David to stay, or Shoni saying like, I don't want George here, you know, like I felt like he was so at risk in that moment, but I mean, I'm glad he stayed.
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to go back to what I said earlier today. They took a look at it and they said, hey, they got rid of a big one. We'll get rid of one too. You know, I feel very confident about that they were okay with letting David go.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch has said it in the chat, which I think he kind of explained it really well. George voting for Janine was best case scenario for Kirby. Get David out on the revote. George showed his cards to the other two, so they get him out next tribal and still have a 3-2 advantage, which I think is actually is very possible. Like, George doing that, I really don't think has helped. Like I said this, I don't think it helped his case at all, because now he has got to lean on the girls and someone that he had royally screwed over in Shawnee. So he is less, and Kirby actually at that point, because of obviously him throwing Kirby under the bus. Like, he's got to do a David from this episode and just basically beg. Like,
Yeah.
he is going to be groveling to him. I feel like Matthew's trying to come back, but I don't know.
I disagree with everything. I actually don't. I'm sorry.
It's a crispy mic. Oh, yeah.
Is it still?
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Right. Well. Well, we figured this out.
mean-
I also want to just bring up Cass Form's comment because I really did like. I think this tribal was chaotic. It was messy, but so entertaining that these tribals that
Mhm.
make this season truly one of the best. And honestly, I think that's true. Like with this season, the tribals are chaotic. The tribals are messy, but it's absolutely. I'm gonna say a naughty British word. It's bloody entertaining. Absolutely watch. But obviously, we go to the Revo and we see the Golden God go. But I do just want to give him his props because actually I do love how everyone gave him like a hug and there was the standing ovation. Like they really did let David like have his moment, which I think was like really sweet. But yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on the Golden God getting got?
I do want to just say, like, I see Gabe saying like they should have went for Shoni, or maybe a few people I think said that, and I do agree. Like, I think that probably would have been the best move for them at that point, if they both wanted to stay, to just do that. But anyway, back to David. I do feel sad that like he was voted out because like he is entertaining to watch and he is a good player, but I mean between him and George, I was like nervous because I didn't want to be George. So, and there'll be more David to come.
Yeah. I think one thing I want to go back a little bit when they were doing the challenge and Tony was throwing the beanbags. You just said bloody, and I know that it means something else somewhere else. But when they actually allowed him to say the shit on the show, and I was happy as hell. Like that, like it's not that bad of a word, and I love it because he said it. Like he was 110% committed, and when he missed, that's the first words out of his mouth. Okay, I got you, appreciate it. But now back to David. Gotta go. Like it's okay, it's all right. They gave him his flowers. They stood up. They did what they're supposed to do. These are people that have played, their second time, third time, fourth time, whatever have you. Like they're playing so different than someone that has come out there and played for the first time. First time's a bunch of emotion that happens. Like I don't think there was really any emotion involved in this. This was just like, this is a game time decision. You are the Golden God, and you have that name for a reason. You gotta go. And then they stood up, give him hugs, lots of love. Get on, because somebody else is gonna win this $250,000.
I mean, let's be fair, David. David's got enough money from Deal on Ojo Island.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
That's the other thing. The whole thing in the last episode, Parvati telling Rob and then everyone finding out about it. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a whole thing now. And now it doesn't even matter because David's gone.
Yep, bye.
But what happens if, like, next episode, like, they see him gone, everyone's like, oh my God. And if Poverty just, like, spoils it and goes, it's all right. He won't deal on no deal, he's fine. That would just be so funny to me. The reality TV multiverse.
Amazing. That would be so, because it's already aired. Like, the world knows about it already. It would suck that, there's now the people left over that would be spoiled too, and they would hopefully not say anything. But if she said that, that would be so cool. Like, just have everybody sign an NDA. Like, just can't mention it. Like, even though she said it.
It's fine. I just want to throw out, because the chat's been popping off. James had said once Sarah flipped, David was kind of cooked. And I agree with Mitch. David was definitely a good sport about it. Gabe says, oh, this was a spicy fun. It ended nicely. JLP got to snuff his replacements.
Yeah. Honestly, who snuffed who?
Oh no! That's
How's my mic? Is my mic working? Sorry, that was
no. There's still some crunch.
But you know what? That came through clear. That came through clear.
Actually, yeah, there was more clearer. Jaden says I'm somewhat glad as he already had so much money. We all know about the hosting thing. Bree TV says, I'm curious what you think about David recognizing Kirby's skills in front of everyone at Tribal. And I actually did remember this halfway through the Tribal discussion, and I completely forgot to mention it because obviously it was when, Matthew, you were talking about obviously Kirby and talking about why she then flipped it to David. And I actually think once David kind of like saw what Kirby was doing and went, no, you're being a part of us. I actually do think that was David's. That was David's moment. That was where I was like, oh, David's gone. I was like, because you don't do that to Kirby. You don't put the jug on Kirby.
I don't think I'm
Princess.
allowed to talk.
I hate to do this. Did you guys see the message that I sent?
We do have to say
yes.
goodbye to Bruce, unfortunately.
Bruce.
I feel like I'm giving myself a David for the moment. I'm voting myself off. Just if I can just really quick give my last thoughts in regards to just what we've seen so far with the up to the second episode. I am so impressed. I am so happy to see what is on my television. It's going to mess with me a little bit mentally when 49 shows up and then 50. I'm going to expect this kind of energy from season 50. I really expect this, U.S. Survivor, and we'll see what the third episode brings. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy. This is awesome.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to also move on as well from the stream. Ollie, I'm going to toss it to you because obviously this is bad.
Wait, why?
Take care of that popcorn microphone. You'll be fine. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you later.
Bye. Right, and as Bruce goes, I will then wrap things up then. Obviously, we say goodbye to Mr. David. David, well done. Obviously, you got a sweet gig after this, so it's fine. I mean, it's chilled. We love it for him. But yeah, well done. I mean, he got to play on the Survivor Olympics, so like,
Yeah.
jokes on the rest of us. Like, we would all love to be in his position. But obviously, that is it for our coverage today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. The chat, like, you all have been like the best co-hosts, like talking as well. Like, you've been amazing. I guess I should do the spiel on loads of stuff we've got going on, shouldn't we? Well, just a reminder, we've got a Patreon, and if you join the Patreon, you get your name over there. So hi Jake, hi Nicole, hi Douglas, hi Melissa, hi Valerie. If you want your name over there, subscribe to our Patreon. Also, I know we're talking about AU versus the World, but we have got our Survivor 49 coverage coming up soon. So stay on the lookout for that. And then just a few plugs. We have got Babes and Buffs going on. Tori is hosting it. I'm there joining her, where we are talking about iconic women in the US version. And we will be having our finale soon. Maybe a little bit delayed. It was meant to be this week, but it may be next week now. But we do have a very special guest joining us for that season, recapping 41 to 48. And you may have seen her on a recent season, but that's all I'm going to say. And there's also Pride in the Tribe. We get to talk to people. It was prideful. It was lovely. And last thing is our draft teams. Oh, poor Randy, poor Josh. Oh. We're still good, though.
This might be the longest time I've had my team intact.
And we love it for you. And just a final reminder, we are going to have our episode 3 recap Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for all of you Australians. That is Wednesday at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we may have a little guest with us. We may be having a certain Titan come and grace us with their presence. I'm not going to say who, but you may see someone joining us. But that is all we have for now. Like I said, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like, we've appreciated it. I can't wait to talk about episode 3. I know it's going to be even crazier than these last 2 episodes. So join us then, and we will see you guys soon.